else can we expect at the RNC, and what impact do political conventions really have on voters and ultimately the results of the election? Professor Michael Wagner from the UW joins us this morning to talk about those things and more. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
So I know you watched the DNC, parts of it. What do you think was the biggest takeaway for the Biden campaign? Did they do more benefit? Did they benefit more from the convention, or did they do any harm to themselves?
I don't think they did much at all in the way of harm. I think they came out of the convention showing a unity across political figures from the far left of the party and even beyond the party, like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who's one of the more progressive Democratic senators, all the way to conservative Republicans like former Ohio Governor John Kasich. And so there was a wide array of elites showing unity for Joe Biden. And there was a wide array of regular citizens from a diverse set of backgrounds and jobs and people looking for jobs, all talking about what they're experiencing now in the Trump administration and how they think the Biden-Harris administration would be better for them. So I think they had a good 4 days in a unique virtual environment.
Professor, it was definitely unique to have people, as you mentioned, like John Kasich, even Colin Powell, make the case on behalf of Biden. But typically, challengers have a tougher time than incumbents. I think the last time a challenger beat an incumbent president was all the way back when Reagan beat Carter. So do you think that it will have any effect come November?
Well, Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush in 1992 as well, and so it's not unheard of for incumbents to lose, but they often do have the advantage. We call it the incumbent advantage, I think, for a reason. And right now, we're seeing, numbers in terms of polling that certainly give an advantage to Vice President Biden. But what really matters are how the candidates are performing in a small number of swing states. And while Biden has a fairly large lead right now, I think we should expect that to narrow the closer we get to Election Day.
Okay, so let's look ahead. This week, the RNC kicks off. What will be President Trump and Vice President Pence's main job at that convention to make their case to voters?
I think they want to remind people who voted for them last time that it was worth the risk and that it was worth their vote. And so I think we'll hear from Vice President Pence, especially about some of the accomplishments of the Trump administration in terms of Supreme Court justices placed on the bench and federal court judges placed around the country in high numbers, the tax cut that was passed during the first part of the administration. And from President Trump, I think we'll hear a wide array of boasts and grievances, some true and some not, as is his wont when he communicates publicly.
The Trump campaign is still not talking about exactly what their convention will look like in terms of crowds. I know that the president typically feeds off of electric crowds. That was a big theme in 2016. Do you think that will impact his campaign at all, or how it comes across on TV?
Well, I think whether there are or aren't crowds will affect how it plays on television. And we saw that a bit in the DNC, where Barack Obama's speech was much more like a conversation, which seemed to fit the kind of platform machinery a little better. Kamala Harris had a speech that I think would have been a stem winder in front of a lot of people in an arena, but didn't quite land in the same kind of way, just given the format. And so we'll have to see how all of these different folks speaking at the RNC are able to adjust how they communicate, or whether they have crowds come in. Maybe the Trump campaign will have some people on the South White House lawn with him when he gives his speech, for example. But I think that still remains to be seen, and it's not even clear if it's fully planned out yet.
And come November, Wisconsin is expected to play a pivotal role in this election. It's going to be another battleground state. Do you think that, is there anything, what do you recommend voters who are still undecided do heading into another week of conventions?
Well, I think it's always a good idea for voters to listen to the parties give their best case for a vote for them. And that usually involves some evidence why each party and each candidate thinks the other side hasn't done a good job or isn't well prepared. It also involves the actual plans and proposals for what it is the folks would do if we gave them our vote and they ended up serving us in the White House. Not just the policy proposals, but also the process and style of governing that they would bring. And so I think these are all things to look for as we watch the RNC this week.
Professor Mike Wagner, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. Good luck with your upcoming school year. It looks like you got zoomed down based on how you were able to pull things up this morning.
We'll hope the technology holds, but thank you.
Thank you so much.